All right, how you all doing? Good afternoon. Hey y'all. It's Abby Nicole here live on the Fluffy Girl Movement page. And we are here today, a very exciting day, with Miss Empower She Herself, Adonde. I'm going to give y'all a second to go ahead and get in the room. Share this out, share this out, share this out. Adonde, share it with your folks. I am over here on the tablet today. We are multitasking. We are in business today. Okay? So as you all know, I hope you all can hear us really good on these mics. Tune in, let us know, comment, tell us, hey, I can't hear y'all. Hey, I hear you just fine. Hey, you're too loud. We're all for it. We're live here, and it's always troubleshooting. So let me go ahead. All right, looking good. I'm going to share this on out to the Abby Nicole page so you all can see it live with Empower She. Yes, so come on in the room. Gonna post that on now. And we're rocking and we're rolling. So again, hey y'all, it's your favorite flufftivist over here, Abby Nicole, coming to you live, as we already said, with the hashtag body talk of the day, honey. Know thyself to grow thyself. And we are here with Miss Adonde of Empower She. How you doing, Adonde, girl?
I'm good. How are you? I'm still trying to get this together.
All right, look, we can't all be great at everything, okay? Whatever. Let it take as long as it needs to take. So you all will see I have my tablet here. Adonde has her phone. We are monitoring for your questions, if you have any for her. So Adonde, who are you?
Who am I? Wow, that is a loaded question. I am a transformational empowerment coach. So what does that mean? It means that when individuals, primarily women, but I do work with men, are working through transformation stages, if you are getting out of a relationship or trying to redefine how you look at relationships, if you are elevating from a job, if you are going through a plateau and really just wanting to tap into who you are, the corner in the center of yourself, and use that to motivate into your best self.
So what we say, so for us most simpler folks out here, when we say life coach, is that a safe word to say?
That's a safe word.
Okay, we still saying it? Okay, yes. Because some stuff be phasing out as far as language goes.
Well, because life coach covers, so much, and I can't coach you through everything, but I can coach you through what I know about it.
And you're a transformational.
I am a transformational coach. And we're all trying to grow and be somebody better and different and become our best selves.
Yeah.
And so I kind of help clear out the clutter so that you can get there instead of having all of these ideas of who you are in your mind. It really is about having a third party come in with a bird's eye view and help you attack that. And then it can be for a project that you might be working on, or just, again, for who you are, personal development. So we're going to rock and roll, and I'm going to get you there. All
right now. So you are new to hashtag body talk.
I am.
Okay, but as you know, as the name implies, we talk about body.
Hey now.
I wish I could do BAWDY because it's body, right?
I can't even say it right. Body.
Okay, but it's hashtag body talk. And we start off by talking about body journey, right? Where you've been, like the seeds that were planted in your mind about body, how the girls in the family would talk about that, if it was discussed at all. I think it's so important for us to dive into the things that make us us. So if you had to share a little bit about body, let's just go with mother. We ain't even gonna touch grandma yet. Let's go with mother. What kinds of things where you talk about your body?
First and foremost, I was taught to honor and to love my body. So
what does that mean?
My mother always kind of instilled in us this idea that you protect your temple, that you honor it, that you take care of it, that kind of thing. But looking at that versus like body image and how we looked at body was a little bit different. So like, honor thyself, but looking at how my body changed over the year or years, that was different too. So watching my mother and her journey, and then looking at what that turned into as I kind of grew and watched what my journey with my body turned into, and what I accepted and what maybe I didn't always accept, and what I had to grow to accept, and things that I had to stop accepting. Right, all of that. So the empowerment piece from my mother, I definitely got the love and the honor self the body image thing a little bit more convoluted.
A little bit more. So just for you all that are tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. What's going on, D? Hey, Jan.
Hey,
this space is super cute, right? Super cute. But we are watching for you all's comments, so just know that. And share this out as we are talking, y'all, because as you know, hashtag body talk is always a great conversation, not between just me and our interviewee here, our fluff gal pal, but also with you all out there. So jump in and join us. So Adande of Empower She is a transformational life coach. So for those of you who have not, who just coming in the room. So we just talked a little bit about, and I think what you said is genuine to a lot of folks, right? Mom usually teaches you how to take care of your temple, right? Meaning, wash your ass on a regular basis, right?
Okay.
And not necessarily being a hoe, right? We got that lesson. But maybe not how to love yourself at every stage of yourself.
Yeah. And I think that especially for our mothers and my mother in particular, in the generation that she was coming out of.
What generation is that?
Don't ask me to give a title on it. We're just gonna say that. Maybe. My mother just turned 70. Happy birthday, Mom.
Baby boomers.
Okay. So what that journey for women especially looked like, and what honoring and even knowing and being in touch with body was very different. And my mother was very intentional on making sure that wasn't our plight. But even in that, it doesn't teach you to be comfortable in the world that you live in. So my weight has always fluctuated. So I've gone from, smaller to larger, and to middle to small again to larger.
Right.
Like, I've done that. And learning how to make peace with body at every stage is not necessarily something that I learned from my mother, but something that I had to acquire over the years.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's dig into it. So you might not have heard from Mom, and how was Grandmom? Was Grandma?
My grandmother passed when I was younger.
Okay, so Grandmom wasn't in on the situation.
But Grandma was fly.
But Grandma was fly.
She was.
Shout out to Grandma.
Okay.
Okay, so Mom didn't really dig in the heels when it came to body image. When did you start to realize, let's start with that. When did you start to realize yourself? When did you start to realize some stuff is changing around here? And I'm not talking about puberty. I'm talking about that point right past that.
Look, so that whole freshman 10 thing entering college
college is weird, ain't it? That's one of those situations.
And what was funny is because my first semester actually lost weight. And so I was like, oh, what you talking about, freshman 10? I look good.
Girl, I gained what you lost. Okay, cool.
And then I went back that second semester and I gained the 10 and then some. And that was the first time I think I looked in the mirror and I was like, I don't know who you are. Like, I'm not sure. I've been athletic most of my life, and so that was very different, but I wasn't playing a sport anymore. So I didn't know quite what I was looking at. Unfortunately, I was dating someone at the time who was very loving and caring at the time, and made me literally look at myself. It was the first time I had someone say, look at yourself in the mirror, fully naked.
And this is in college?
And this is in college.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah, and this is like...
She went to a private school, had to, because...
TSU, baby. But look at myself, and I did that, and from that I gained the practice of doing that, looking at myself in the mirror and doing it until I was comfortable with what I saw back.
Wow.
And it was hard to begin with. I was not comfortable. I did not like it. But what I did learn is that the more I grew comfortable with my reflection, the better I treated my body. So as I grew comfortable with what I saw, it was easier for me to get up and hop into, run on the track when I wanted to, or, whatever, because I was already okay with what was there.
What was there.
So it was that.
So let's, that's a good point. So let's talk about that. I am a strong believer, here at Fluffy Girl, we're a strong believer that when you really start accepting yourself, when you accept yourself at every phase. And it's going to be a different journey at every phase, right? Whether it's losing a whole bunch of weight or gaining a whole bunch of weight or losing energy that you had because you were the track star in high school. There's a lot of different transitions, right? But strong believer that when you start accepting yourself, truly accepting yourself, you're able to make your next.
Right.
Whatever that next is. If it's hopping on the treadmill.
Right. And so that's what it was. It was really about what decisions I was going to make to, okay, I'm comfortable here, but I know that I don't love you know, this, like, this isn't my body.
Right.
Like, I have an impression or a vision of what my body looks like.
Right.
And at that time it was like, this isn't mine. So what do I need to do to get back to my body?
Right.
And so I did.
So
you know?
first you acknowledge the body, right? You acknowledge the body, and either you say, you know what, I'm rocking with you, or you say, you know what, I love you, girl, but I love you so much more that I'm going to be the best me that I can be. And that looks different for everybody, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because I could have rocked with it and it could have been fine. Like, I didn't think that I was any less fly then than what I think now.
Tell them.
However, I did know, you know, that I moved differently. Things jiggle a little bit more than I thought they should. All those kind of things, right? And that was different for me. And I was like, I really want to do some things different. And I got all these clothes that I can't fit no more. So let's try to get back in.
But hold on, repurposing is a different conversation because we can repurpose some things.
Look, come on.
So
through.
Hey T, what's going on, Asia? What's going on, cuz? Hey Kenneth, how you doing? And Britt, thank you so much for tuning in. Share this out. We are talking with transformational coach herself, Miss Empower She, Miss Adande, y'all. So right now we're talking about body, and we're talking about when we got first in touch with ourselves. Feel free to comment. Let us know when you first got in touch with yourself, what that felt like. We're not talking about puberty because that's an odd situation in its own, but we're talking about when you woke up one day and was like, either I'm really feeling myself, or there's something I want to change about myself, or I'm not the same young whippersnapper I was 20 years ago, or there's so many ors. But feel free to comment and let us know so we can keep this conversation going. If you have any questions, jump right on
and to what you said before, like, it wasn't, that was the first time.
Yeah.
You know? But that has happened multiple times in my life.
College, by what age?
Well, that first one was about 18, 19.
Yeah.
The second time I can recall really being aware of my body, I was probably about 22, 23, which was in the complete opposite direction. I had lost a tremendous amount of weight.
Really?
Yeah. And so, I mean, like I said, I've been small and I've been larger. So I dropped down to about a size 4.
You went from a fluff supporter to a fluff?
Look.
Yeah, it happens.
So right. So I'm like a size 4, but even then I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, this is not my body. Like, this is all right, you cool, like, you can wear some things that you couldn't wear before,
right? But
it still wasn't what I was used to. But I also felt unhealthy.
Yeah.
You know?
And see, I think when you feel unhealthy, right? So I tell y'all all the time, I'm very transparent with my own journey. Besides me having these big old boobs, right, which to the world is so appealing, it's a full-time job. Let me tell you. So
it costs a full-time check.
Child, it's like you carrying I've never carried a child, but I promise you, these are twins.
And yet,
it is no joke.
Yes.
But there is the heavier breathing. There is the lack of energy. There is the, having to be more aware of your spaces.
Right, which is interesting.
Tune into that.
I found, like, that was one of those things that was, like, different. Like, I'm getting on an airplane and, like, this seat is different. I don't have as much space, but I became very aware of how much space I took up in the world, and that was a new sense for me. And then getting comfortable with that too. Like, what does that look like when you move through spaces, when you move through crowds, and learning how to move your body differently, learning how to dance differently,
learning what works for you.
Right.
I mean, and so y'all are really coming through with these comments. Thank you so much. Tamika said hey girl, hey. She embraces being a curvy girl. More power to you. Okay. Around here we call it fluffy. Call it curvy, call it voluptuous, whatever you want to call it, just call it, okay?
Thick with
Name
it. Thick with it.
Asia says she thinks it's a constant journey of acceptance for her. Dee says she would probably say that she tapped into it after 25 when she started gaining some weight. And so, because De'Ara had been smaller for most of her life, and then she hit that 25 and stuff started sticking. So,
and I was supposed to say, right, because the older we get, our body, our metabolisms operate differently.
Y'all, that's not a lot.
When weight sticks or changes, or you used to be able to, like, hop in the gym for a couple weeks and drop that 5 or 7 or 10 real quick, and then you get to that 25 or 27 or 30 some odd, and it takes a couple weeks longer or a couple months longer having to get comfortable. Look, okay, getting comfortable with that part of it too. But I mean, part of the journey is embracing the newness and embracing the newness of what you are building too. So whichever direction you're going into, whether it's primary goal is just to be healthy and to feel good, or it's to get back in them jeans that you really love, because I have a pair of jeans that I really love, but it's coming, Lord. But you know, but it's that though, you know, right? Look, it's coming. But looking at self again and being comfortable when you look in the mirror and say, yes, this is, I like this, or I got this dress on and this is working for me, you know, and because of that, you know, maybe I just want a little bit of extra space here.
I always try to say, and we always accentuate this on hashtag body talk. It's not, and you'll hear a lot of time the conversation be, I want to fit in those jeans, or I had a bikini, or I was going to Vegas and I wanted to look a certain way. But we know for a fact that it's so much deeper than that. Feeling a certain way. I mean, it would be so great if the way you feel matches the way you look and vice versa. And we got some fluffy girls out here, baby, that's crossfitting for their life. That's vegan, that's a yogi, that's sliding up and down poles, that you know. But see, there's a difference between having that energy and feeling like your best self, and then not having that energy and feeling so sluggish and just so inward, you know.
And like you said, it really is about seeing the outside match who you know you are on the inside. Who you know you are, whatever that looks like. And you can match it at any size, at any point, at any stage, and getting comfortable with both and the journey through. So it's not just the end goal. Like, you can't just be comfortable with what your vision for the future is. You have to be comfortable with where your starting point is. Real talk. You got to be cool there.
Share. I see y'all coming through. I'm so excited. Share. What's going on, Punky? Hey, Scoop. Thank you so much.
I love these names.
Marissa, Marissa, she says, understanding the space I occupied was a huge moment for me in acceptance.
Ooh, yes,
I fully embraced my curves. Shout out to Marissa. Yes. She was our hashtag body talk guest last month. It feels like late last year. Thank you for tuning in. D says she's Fluffy Junior. We call you Fluff Supporter. You get, come on.
I like it, Fluffy Junior.
She says she's Fluffy Junior. Okay,
come through, support team.
Come on, support team. What's going on, Nikki? Share this out as we are speaking. And then Brittany said, I just recently and still am learning to get used to the weight I've gained. I went from slim to not so slim. I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't expect it so soon. Everyone's saying it's relationship weight. Yeah, girl, that's that I'm in love.
Okay,
that's that all we doing
I got
is
real
laying
comfortable,
up.
right?
But now we need to transform that laying up to, maybe we don't do crunches to the pizza. Maybe it's one of these. You know,
are we doing crunches to the pizza? We're doing curls with the wine.
Curls to the wine. But either way, I had to learn to get used to it. She said she went from 136 to 160, but I embrace it and love it. I mean, and that's really what it is. And that whole relationship weight is a whole different conversation.
That's so real.
But that's a great transition, though, because transformational
so silly.
Coach. So I'm saying, how did you go from, I can't even look at myself in the mirror, to, okay, I'm looking at myself in the mirror, to, I know who I can be in the inside, to, let me help y'all get y'all life together?
Ooh.
How we get there?
That is a great question. I think my life purpose and journey is always and has always been to help people, again, tap into their best self, find the source, the God, the goddess that rests in them, and bring that to the surface, whatever and at any point that looks like, regardless of whatever struggle or journey that I might be going through as well. And so when I shifted from kind of my pre-profession to what I do now, it really was wanting to align what I do professionally and on a daily basis with what I already did with people that I came across, with my girls groups that I volunteered with, wanting to make that the primary focus of my life. Making sure that I inserted spirit into everything that I do, and that I bring forth spirit in everything that I do, and allow others to, one, see me do it, and be transparent with that journey, and also, pull theirs out. Sometimes you just need a help. We all have these ideas about who we can become and what we can become, and then we see the blockers in between. It's like trying to clean up a really dirty room. You go in and there's crap everywhere, and then you're like, "Ooh, this is too much," and close the door. Right. You know, so it's but you know that there's a clean room under there. So it really is the process of, and I get excited about helping people clean away the clutter. So it's that process and wanting to make sure that my life and my profession was aligned with my passion.
No, I'm here for that. So, okay, if somebody shows interest in getting life coaching, what does that look like? Is it like a Donde Fix My Life?
It is not a Donde. Well, no, it's not a Donde. It's not a Donde Fix My Life.
Bags behind the building. You got me, fixing out some folks.
So, okay. Think about this. If somebody's playing basketball, right? Okay. And maybe they've got a natural skill and a natural talent, so they know I can hoop, I can play, right?
Right.
But you still might need to hone in on the fundamentals that make you a better player.
Okay.
Maybe you need to run more. Maybe you need to work out and lift weights more. Maybe you just need to work on your left hand, right? Whatever that is. So your coach comes in, looks at you, does an assessment, and says, "I need you to do this, this, and this because it's going to make you more rounded as a player." So ultimately, that's what I do. So in the power assessment, if you go online, shiadade.com.
Plug it.
If you go online and do the power assessment, which is free, that's what we do. We spend that first time going in and I'm looking at assessments. What are your skills? What are you doing? What is working? What is not working? And then what do I need to fine tune? So then I basically create a playbook for you, right? These are the steps that you need to take and we work through. So it might be something that we need to sit a little bit longer on, or it might be immediate homework where you have tasks to do and tasks to complete. But that's what it looks like. And the difference between doing this with your homegirl or with your mama is the different level and accountability. Because your friends might coddle or oh girl, it's okay if you didn't. And I'm like, hey, yo, what's good? This is the date we set for this. I need my work.
Let me be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be honest with y'all.
Come through.
And done they already know what I'm about to say. I came to her and I said, Adonde, I effed up. You gonna look at me like I'm crazy.
And what was the first thing I said?
And then she looked at me.
You ain't do your homework, did you?
And was like, you ain't do your homework, did you? And I said, but let me tell you about this week, though. And she was like, excuses of what? And we're both Greek, okay? Tools of competent used to build bridges to absolutely nowhere. And I said, you know what? You right. I don't have nothing else to say. I just want to let you know I ain't do it. Now, let me tell you how I'm going to make this better.
Right.
You know?
And see, but that's one of those things that I love about coaching, because it's not about coming in and berating you over the head, but it is about saying, okay, if something didn't work, again, what do we need to tweak? Because effectiveness and success are the only objectives. That's all we're trying to do. Get you to your best and success. That's it. That's all we're trying to get you to, right? And so if I gave you 4 assignments and 4 was a little bit too much, because life happens, we got life going on, so you couldn't get to those, or maybe you start, and I've had this happen before, an assignment felt overwhelming. So maybe we need to talk through that and cut it down into smaller pieces. We're going to do all of that, but I'm going to work you through it, and I'm going to cheer you on, but I'm going to push you too. I'm going to light a fire when a fire needs to be lit. I'm going to pull when you need to be pulled, and I might push you a little bit too.
Just y'all have seen those videos on YouTube where it's like 2 cats and the cat is like looking over the thing and the other cat just like move. And then cat kind of like fumble but get back up.
I will push you off the ledge, but I'm not going to push you off the ledge that you're not prepared for. That's all I'm saying. So
I think sometimes, as a coach myself with body empowerment, we have to know that there's a difference between your mama saying, you got it, baby, your friend saying, you got this, girl, and having somebody that actually knows what the hell they talking about. And it's like, you know what, let's put this in bite-sized chunks. I think that's super important, especially when you're talking about goals, journey, when you're talking about life, this hard road, right? So what do you think as a coach has been one of your most challenging things as a coach and a human being, right? Okay, because people forget that although we are the people that pour into other folks, that we need something to pour into us as well.
So it's the same word, but it's twofold, and I'm gonna say resistance, because personal resistance and then the resistance of clients or of individuals that I'm working with, it looks the same whenever it shows up, right? Like there's a goal, there's something you can do, but then that pothole of resistance comes in, and you either try to circumvent it, or you just sit down, right? And that becomes a problem. It's a problem for me sometimes when I'm setting new goals and new sights on different things, and then I get so passionate about, I don't know how to work that, about when I'm working with people in the journey, because we're doing this together, and I want them to get there. And so having to take a step back and honor that resistance, because it has place too. You know, we learn things. Oh, I had somebody tell me this last night. But that we learn things through the space of resistance. And so remembering that for myself, and then especially for my clients, helping them to remember, like, it's okay if it doesn't work the first time. It's okay if the first time you don't get your homework done. Don't make this a habit.
Don't make this a habit.
Because that's what we're trying to get beyond. Right.
Especially if you, and I didn't write it down, but but reaching your goals, right? Especially because, okay, y'all, let's be for real. When you come to somebody, it's one thing. Right. When you pay somebody, it's another thing. You know how, money is tight these days, okay? With Trump, we don't know how much tight it's going to be, but money is tight, okay? So it's like, if you're investing in a service, you definitely want to get your all out of it. You don't want to just say, oh, I paid $300 and she sounded good, I don't really know what I did. You really want to put your foot forward and make that happen. Especially whether you're paying for it or it's a resource where you're taking out time, both of which you can't get back. Right.
And I believe in accountability too. Like I'm not, again, effectiveness and success, those are the only objectives. It doesn't matter what it is that we're working for. And I'm not interested in wasting your time or my own, because working with someone, setting these plans, checking and ensuring that you are following up and following through, it takes time. So I want to make sure that you are invested, and I want to make sure that you get your money's worth.
Alana is saying yes, those words that Adonde are using.
Hey now.
Okay.
Come through, Alana. What's up, girl?
Hey, Kay. Thank you for tuning in. Share this out, y'all, as you're watching. We're here with Adonde of Empower She, transformational coaching. So we're getting the nitty gritty of why coaching is important. Yes. Okay. Tapping into folks other than your family and your friends, because they're not going to give you that push, or sometimes they actually don't see in you what another person from the outside looking in can see in you.
And think about this: whenever you look at anyone who is great in anything, there was a teacher, there was someone that stood and walked a very specific route with them. If you're learning the piano, you start out with the teacher. It might be in a group, but when you get real good, you need someone to hone those skills. You have that one-on-one component, that one-on-one person who's looking, keeping the time, and making sure that you are doing this, executing the way that you should be for excellence. Yes. That's the point. That's what coaching does. That's what I do as a transformational coach, to make sure that you are executing effectively so that you can get to the goal, so that you can reach this new person inside of you, so you can figure out who she is or where he is and bring him to the surface. What does that look like?
Knowing thyself to grow thyself, right? So that came full circle real quick, didn't it? See how that worked out? Know thyself to grow thyself. Yes. So how important do you think it is to get in touch with you? First of all, let's break that down, right? So for our folks that don't go through all this, the deep layer stuff, right? So because I'm a coach, I can understand where we're going. We can dissect stuff, peel it back like an onion, right? We can naturally do that. But what do you think it means to know thyself? What does that look like? If you could put that into words.
That is a loaded question too. Yeah. Okay. I think that it means understanding the essence of who you are and why you are.
Come on now.
So, I'm not gonna go there with Jesus quite yet, but
Jesus is relevant.
Is relevant. when you know who you are and whose you are, you have to also know why you are. And we look at purpose as a lot of different things. And I don't mean like, I was sent here to be a dentist or to save lives. Not necessarily, because even that carries a deeper significance. Why were you here to save people? Why does it matter if you help people? Why, if you are mothering individuals, why are these things important? Why are you a writer? Why are you writing? What does that pull to the surface, right? And ultimately it comes back to connectivity. How we allow ourselves to be interconnected to somebody else. That is the purpose. That is the why. What that route is. And that to me is what knowing self is. What is it that brings you into a positive space with others and allows people to positively benefit from who you are?
I always say that we're not sent here to serve ourselves. I'm a strong believer in that. We're not sent here to serve ourselves. We are sent here to serve others. Now, the way in which you do that may differ from the next person.
Exactly.
And the reason why you may feel the way you feel, or the gifts that you feel that you were given to share may be different. Adande may feel like, okay, I could be a therapist to a person on a couch, right? But then you might have an EMT that says, I'd rather go into the home and revive somebody. Both of those are ways of reviving people, actually, right? Because therapy can be for healing, it can be for growth, and the fact that this person busted into your house and made sure you made it alive to the hospital is a way of reviving physical life.
And everyone can't do everything, because I don't do blood.
Everything.
So,
see, know your stuff.
Right. Like, there are nurses that are amazing in this world, and thank you, Jesus, for nurses and for doctors and dentists and anybody else who does things that I think are
But there are so many other different service providers out here as well.
Oh my God, yes.
And I think that we sometimes have to peel back those layers from what we see, right? We see the lawyers, we see the doctors, but it's something I have learned here in St. Louis. Now, you've been here from Nevada for a while now, but you are a native.
I am a native, born and raised.
Born and raised in the Lou, chicken head a little bit. But something that I think we often see is service providers. It's so much more difficult to provide a service as far as, let me help you get your life together, right? Versus, let me clean your teeth. It's different, for whatever reason. And I think people really have to value things about themselves, right? You have to say, I want to get to another level, and I know for a fact that I can't do it alone. Instead of just admitting it. Right. That's kind of like the first step.
Yeah, of everything.
Of everything.
Sort of transformation, definitely.
Yes.
And I think that sometimes we confuse practicality with purpose. On both sides. Sometimes we look at what's practical and we think that's what we need to do, and then sometimes we confuse that with purpose, and we don't understand that you can do something practical and do something that's purposeful, and I don't necessarily mean together or overlap. And I've had this conversation with clients before. Sometimes your job is just your job, and it needs to be, because that's what you were trained in, that's what you invested yourself in, that's what you've been doing, and your purpose must be fulfilled in another space, and that is okay too. It doesn't matter what the space is, right? And sometimes you can find a way to overlap them and to merge them, and when you can, it is a beautiful thing. But it is no less beautiful to work a job. Again, when I started this journey, I was working in a completely different profession, but I volunteered with girls groups. I volunteered speaking. I volunteered in prisons. Like, I still did the teaching.
Tugging you, right? It was pulling you in that direction.
I still did it, and I didn't understand at the time that I could do both, and I didn't have the picture of how to do both. So it doesn't matter, and I think it's difficult to separate the two, but they practical and purposeful don't have to be the same thing for them to coexist.
So we have some new comments, y'all, that are tuning in. Thank you so much. Ebby Nicole here with Adande, of Empower She. We're talking about knowing thyself to grow thyself. So share this out with your folks. Add more people on in the conversation. We have a few comments. So Asia said, as Lauryn Hill once stated, you have to reintroduce yourself to yourself every day.
Real, that's one of my favorite lines.
Come on, poet and didn't know it. I see you, Asia.
Yes.
And then Kendria says, yes, girl, you know who you are and whose you are. Okay. And Kaylee says, knowing yourself is big, difficult, and life-changing.
Oh, say that. It is big, it is difficult, and it is life-changing. That is amazing, because our spirits extend so much further than just like the body, right? And it's not even just like the orb, but how far your energy extends into whatever space it is that you occupy. That's what, like, again, knowing yourself is trying to figure out where that boundary is. Sometimes we think that our boundary is right here when we got boundaries all over St. Louis, you know, when our energy can spread that far. And figuring out it is big, and it's probably bigger than what you've conceived. And if you do conceive that your bounds have no limits, then again, what does that look like? Or is there something blocking you from reaching your own?
And that's why you get a coach. So this is the part of the show, y'all, where we're definitely still taking questions, comments. Please do that. But we have a little game for Miss Adande. Okay, we have two games. I'm gonna give you one at the front end, though. Okay, so let's just say I'm on my growth quest. Okay, let's just say I'm a poppin' 30-something.
Okay,
on my quest to greatness. Greatness can look like a lot of different things, y'all.
It does.
So just visualize with us real quick. On your quest to greatness, what are 5 things that you would think that a woman on her quest to greatness needs at all times? Go.
A pen and paper. Is that 1 or 2? Okay.
That's 1. Nope, that's 1.
All right. Pen and paper, definitely. Something that reminds you who you are.
Reminds of who you are.
Something that reminds you where you come from.
That's different things?
Those are different things.
Okay.
And something that reminds you of where you're going. And then I'm going to say a mirror.
And then a mirror.
Yeah.
All right.
And the mirror because you...
we ain't there yet.
Oh, no. Okay. All right.
So we got... So we got our 5 things that we need on our quest to grow. The scenario that we just gave Adande, I'm a 30 popping something, right? A 30 something that's popping, that's on her quest to growth. And the question is, what 5 things do I need to grow? What is always something that I need to be having with me at all times? So Adande said pen and paper as 1. Something that reminds you of who you are. Something that reminds you of where you come from. Something that reminds you of where you're going. And a mirror. So why pen and paper?
Pen and paper because 1, I believe strongly in journaling. And even if it's not journaling and list and planning and sketching. And
so what if I'm not that person? What if I'm not good at planning?
You don't have to. Okay. Again, that's why I said it can be journaling. It can be, sketching. It can be doodling. It can be anything, but something that allows you to, 1, be creative, and 2, get some things out. So to remember things. It can be a pad that you just need to jot down things that are in your mind. It might be your grocery list.
Right.
But having something that allows you to, there's something about writing. We use phones and we use computers and we use tablets. There's something literally about writing the words down that connects differently in our brains and in our spirits. And that is important, whatever it is. If you think about when you're going grocery shopping, if you type in 5 whatever in your phone versus if you write down those 5 items that you need to get, you're more likely to remember them. They're more likely to be seated in you if you actually physically write it down. There's something about the imprint that actually writing has in our minds and in our spirit. It doesn't have to be a list to plan. It doesn't have to be to do, but it might be. It could be. And you need the option to let it be.
Okay. So that's pen and paper. So journaling, jotting, brainstorming, we need that.
Pictures. I love stick figures.
Doodling if you can doodle, making that happen. Asia said we should all be mirrors to one another. Montez,
girl,
thank you
better.
so much for tuning in. Share this out, honey. Share it out. So we also said something that reminds you of who you are.
Yes.
What can that look like? And why did you say that?
Something that reminds you of who you are is important because sometimes we get lost in the clutter.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get lost in the chaos of the world, and you need something that grounds you, something that is the core and the essence of you. And that might be anything. It could be a favorite ring. It could be, a crystal stone. It might be, I like teddy bears. So I'm just saying it might be a teddy bear, but anything that brings you home.
Yes.
That brings you home to like your center. Anything that does that for you because it grounds you.
It could be the Bible.
It could be the Bible. Anything. It could be a poem. It could even just be a quote.
Yeah.
But you need something that will ground you. So in those moments when you forget or you're having trouble remembering or you get lost in your mind or in the chaos of life, something that you can go to and that'll bring you back.
I love that. That's a really good one. Just staying true to who you are and being able to go back and say, aha, this is my foundation. This is what I stand on, right?
Yes.
So something that reminds you of where you come from. Why is that?
So 2 reasons, because you might need to remember where you come from because you need to remember that that's someplace you don't ever want to be. But you might need to remember where you come from because it is another sense of grounding and of pushing. Like when your mom is angry at you, right? She's going to use all 3 of your names, right? Because that is her way of bringing you back, right? Let me bring you down a couple of notches. And so it might be a little mama token, or a grandmama token, or a daddy token, whatever it is, but something that reminds you of what was in your past. And that's the Sankofa principle, right?
Looking back to go forward.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's that part, and we need that. You've got to can't forget where you come from, because it helps to propel you forward.
Well, and I think, like you said, it's a double-headed coin, right? So it could be having something that reminds you to ground you back to where you are, or something to remind you that you don't want to go back to that place, right?
It can be either, because I know I have people in my life who are like, I will never do this. Like, I will never be in this space again, or I never want to if I grew up in poverty, I don't ever want that to be my reality again. So something that reminds you of that. And it doesn't mean that it was like the worst thing in the world that you ever experienced, but it puts things in perspective.
And that's real, because, as I always say, I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois. Okay, turn up. 618.
We're going to do all of that?
Okay. All of that.
All right.
No. And I love my hometown, right? I have had some great memories in East St. Louis, but I've also had some things that reminded me of why I do what I do and where I'm trying to get, with the thought of, when it's time to come back, I want to be able to come back and help other folks to make that happen. But even if that's not your calling, it's so important to know where you come from. I agree. So then we also had where you're going.
Yes. You got to have a goal marker.
Okay.
It really is that simple.
So we're talking pictures, or we are talking
whatever. So I literally have activities for all of these different kind of components, but it can be that, it can be a memento, it can be, sometimes I'll have individuals kind of do a sketch where you use people that are like your pretend mentors kind of way. It's framed differently if you work with me, I'm just saying. But where you have a goal marker, you have someone, something, some attribute, some far off goal that you got to reach for. Like it can't be something right here. It's got to be something where you got to stretch. The purpose is to
I like
stretch.
the fact of having something in your hand to remind you of where you're going. Like you said, it's that mind body connection. If it's right here and I can actually touch it, it makes me feel like it's attainable to happen. So even if that's a picture to New York or something like that, something to remind us of where we want to go, so we can see that we can feel it. You know what I'm saying?
That it's there.
That it's there.
It exists.
Hell, if it's just a lay from Hawaii and you want to go to Hawaii, hell, you need to be looking at that lay every day. Like, that's why I didn't go to happy hour, because I was saving for Hawaii. Why
people do vision boards. That's why, and I kind of have a different twist on vision boards, but it's why we do these things, to kind of put something out there so that we've got a goal marker. What are you reaching for?
Something attainable. So then we set a mirror. And of course, we could always start off by thinking, okay, a mirror to look at yourself. But why are you thinking a mirror?
When was the last time you looked at a mirror and you said, I love you?
That's real.
Seriously.
I look at myself a lot, and I look at myself a whole lot, and I do it to reflect. I do it to reflect. Yes, but a lot of us don't take the time.
A lot of us do not take the time to look at ourselves. We may snap pictures and be like, "Oh, girl, you fine," but we also spend 3 or 4 snaps trying to get that perfect selfie because we didn't like the first 3.
Yeah,
like when really was the last time? My
double chin was showing.
Right, all of
that roll was hanging out. It's a no.
The last time you looked at yourself in the mirror and truly looked at yourself in the mirror and in the eye and said, I love you, I appreciate you, thank you for doing whatever it is that you did today for me, for my growth, for my development. Thank you. When was the last time? Because we tell people all the time, we send flowers all the time, and we talk about like self-care. We're like, oh girl, go get your nails done, and take yourself out to eat, send yourself some flowers. All of that is great because it's symbolic, right? But when was the last time you just looked at yourself wholeheartedly?
And it's free. It doesn't cost anything but a moment in time. And it's so interesting because
I forgot the last one.
Because when I do coaching, the thing that I always see, it's so hard for people to see themselves. So I'll say, what do you do for self-care? And it's so interesting how we describe self-care, right? Because like you said, I took myself out to eat. Right. I got my nails done. I got a massage.
Now, how does your spirit feel?
That's great. Right. So after you did all of that, how did you feel about yourself? How did you describe yourself to me? And you'd be amazed at what people say about themselves, but be so quick to get offended when somebody else says something crazy about you.
And it's part of that bouncing back, that ability to use yourself as a sounding board, to forgive self on a regular basis. All of those things, it's important. And I mean, and then for the regular reason, because sometimes you need to see yourself and see how fly you are. Like,
girl,
you need
Asia going in. Let me give you her question. Okay. Because Asia got a question.
Okay.
Adande, what advice would you give to someone who dwells too much in the past?
Ooh, Lord. Don't. No, I'm just joking. I mean it. But a long time ago, I listened to the whole don't dwell on the past, and then I shortened it to don't dwell. And people would like, well, why do you do that? Because you don't want to dwell on the good or the bad. And that's the problem. It's not just about dwelling on something that happened, because we oftentimes will focus on the negative things in our past, but you can only do that if you're also focusing on the positive things in your past. You can't dwell on nothing that you can't change. You've got to stop looking at both of those things and accept them for where they are. But there are practices, there are rituals that you can do to release yourself from that energy, from that space. So I'm saying don't, but I wholeheartedly believe in rituals. It is important that you allow yourself to let something lie where it was, to place something, to bury it, to rid yourself of it. All of those things are necessary, and you can do that in visualization. You can do that in actually, symbolic things. I have hosted bonfires where, we've got a big fire and you bring something because you got to let go. There's an exercise that I do about forgive and let go, because I think that forgiveness can either be like increasing or decreasing. So looking at all of those things in that manner, that's important. And that's what I'm saying. So it's not just about not dwelling on the past or the past bad things. It's about laying it to rest and allowing it to rest in peace.
Come on.
Where it was.
Literally allowing it to rest in peace where it was.
And being okay with that. Yes.
I think the great thing about life, right? And the great thing is, if you are allowed another day, another moment, another second, that it can be very different than it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. That is literally a power that you are given in that moment. And I think that's so powerful, that you don't have to dwell in the past, even if the past was all good, even if the past was beautiful and it was like, I enjoyed this part of my life. Well, you know what? The good thing is, if you got another day, another moment, another second, another year, you can write another chapter, and it can be another page. You
can cherish something without dwelling on it.
Yes.
And I think we get those things confused too. Like, it's okay to look back and appreciate what you've gone through, but you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're so locked into those past things that you're not looking forward.
Let me tell you. Alana, like, girl, I can't even do my dishes.
Good. Sit down. Talk to us.
And then Kenny is like, yes, help us. Don't dwell on nothing you can't change. I'm about to shout. Yes, Kenny. Thank you.
I have a tattoo on the back of my neck. It is an Adinkra symbol, and it stands for time changes. And the kind of full thing is just time changes things. And I got it literally to remind myself on a regular basis that time, it almost looks like an hourglass. But time constantly moves. It is the only thing that it follows a natural progression, right? So you got to move with it. There's nothing else that you can do. You've got to move forward, and time will change anything.
Yes.
Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So you remember that, and you can let something be where it is.
So Brittany says that is what she had to learn, to no longer live in the past and let go and free yourself of it.
It's hard, girl.
And you know what's so amazing about not living in the past? You'll start to see doors open up.
Yes.
You'll start to see a little ray of light, right? So where you didn't see any sunshine and it was all rain and it was all clouds, when you start releasing things literally off of your spirit, off of your mind, off of your heart, off of your body, and you're no longer giving whatever that was power over where you stand right now, it's like doors start opening. You'll be like, well, hell, I needed this last month.
And you know what's funny? Because you can't even see the doors, because the past is like a brick wall, right? That like moves with you. So you're turning around looking at this brick wall trying to figure out, how come ain't nothing changing in my life? You just need to turn around and face forward. Because if you do, that's where the horizon is. And if you can just face forward and look at the horizon, then you can do whatever it is that you need to do to get there.
I always say, so supporters, fluffettes, you know, and fluffs. I always hear, Ebby, you doing some amazing stuff. I see you. And I'm always like, I don't see me. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? I don't see you. Is that you player over there on the Himalaya? I can't see it. But it's a lot of it is looking at that brick wall, not even turning around to see that you've pushed this wall down the street around the corner.
So you know what? And everyone should do this tonight too.
Hold on, Don, they're giving us some homework.
Seriously, because it's homework, because I believe in homework. Take a moment and think about the things that you've done in the last year. Like everything that you've done in the last year. Whatever it was that made you feel good. And just Write it down. Write it down. Because you will be surprised. At first, you might be like, well, I haven't really done anything. I'm talking about the day that you got up when you didn't feel like it. I'm talking about your homegirl that you talked through a difficult situation. I'm talking about anything else that you did, something new, something that you thought you couldn't do, something at work that you accomplished, a new project, a new whatever. Just begin to think, because the more you begin to think of them, the longer that list is going to get. And do it until you can't anymore. But give yourself an opportunity, because again, that's part of that seeing self. We forget all the time about how amazing we actually are, and how much stuff we do,
overcome, and how much stuff that we do. You know what? I did that exercise at the end of last year because I told you I was looking at this brick wall. All I saw was a damn brick wall, and I kept on being like, nothing has happened. Nothing.
And then what happened?
And then I started writing, started jotting. Oh, I interviewed the cast of Power. I did this. I did this.
You had an amazing last year.
And literally, y'all, I had a page front and back, both columns. And I don't know where it happened. I don't know when it came, but I don't remember living in those moments enough to cherish those moments. They just went by. And so I think that's amazing homework that you do that. So,
and that's why it doesn't even have to be those stellar things. It can be
little stuff.
Because sometimes getting up in the morning is the greatest accomplishment in the world.
When I'm telling you.
And you have to celebrate that too. And we don't often allow ourselves to celebrate those smaller victories, because we're like, man, you can't celebrate that. That ain't nothing. Bullshit.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
Because it's somebody that didn't get a chance to do that.
It's someone that didn't get a chance to do that, and also because it's someone who does not. Who couldn't do it this morning. Not that they didn't get a chance to, but they couldn't do it. And because it might have been the yesterday that you couldn't do it. So congratulations. I am so glad that you woke up, and I am so glad that you made it through this day, and I'm so glad that you chimed in.
You know what? My aunt always tells me, she still says this, and so T, I hope you're watching still. She always says, I'm going to give you today to be upset. I'm going to give you today to grieve. I'm going to give you today to be pissed off. But tomorrow, or I give you 2 days. But by the end of this week, you don't need to be in that space. Do what you need to do to not be in that space. Whatever you need to do for yourself. So T, I thank you for that, because that is literally one of my life's lessons that I have really internalized. I'm pissed off today. I'm going to give myself today. But all that energy that you put into that negativity, you could have been pushing that wall that much further.
And people don't realize that you can't do both.
You can't do both.
You got to make a choice. You got to make a decision. You cannot use energy in two places at once. So you are either surviving or you're thriving.
Come on.
You got to pick one, because you can't do both. If you are stuck in surviving because I'm angry and so I'm just trying to get through this moment, that's fine for a moment. But how long you just gonna survive when there's something so much better than that?
Come on, somebody.
Right? So you got to shift that energy. The same energy it takes to be pissed off, it takes that same amount of energy to do something different.
So we're down there real quick. We got somebody say, what's our assignment again? Repeat it, please.
Take a moment and literally just write a list of all the things in the last 6 months to a year that you've done, from the largest things to the smallest things. Those days that you got up and you didn't think that you could, that new assignment that you did at work, that new book that you just read and finished, whatever, that tough conversation you had with your boo thing, all of those things, up into, the greatest things, like going to the gym, losing some weight, learning how to cook a new meal, eating better, all of those things. Jot everything down until you cannot think. And then second step, put it someplace in your house, outside of your closet, on the bedroom door, someplace where you see it, because you're going to need to come back to that sometimes and see all of the things that you have managed to do, so that you can remember how many things that you are capable of doing. That part is important.
And that multiplied times 10.
And keep adding to it. Let it be a live list. Keep adding to it. Every time you do something that you're like, girl, look at me, this is what I did. Write it down. Give yourself a little personal, I did this resume. Do it.
And I love the people in my life. Y'all are so humble. And the more I pay attention to y'all, the more I realize apparently I'm not as humble as I need to be. But you all will say stuff like, well, that wasn't a big deal. That wasn't a big deal. And it's like, no, you moved across country by yourself.
That's
school, whatever the hell it was. That was huge. You know what I mean? As outgoing as I am, I ain't going to nobody in New York. Not right now. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I don't want to do it. The subway gonna eat me alive. It's all these fears. But
it's not gonna eat you alive.
You have to look. It's moving fast. You know, but no, it's really about taking that time to reflect on the things that you have done that you may have not even had the courage to do the week before, the day before.
Exactly.
So as we come to the closing of our hashtag body talk, this has been so eventful.
Really?
I thank y'all so much for tuning in.
So much fun.
One more activity with Miss Adande. So, and this is gonna be an easy one for you. I know it is.
Okay.
I know it is. So, if you on this growth journey, right? Remember, we just said we're thriving 30 something. We popping. We trying to make it happen. If you had to give that woman 3 words that she should always keep in the back of her mind, what 3 words would you give her?
3 words to keep in the back of her mind.
And she's going through this journey called life.
I'm going to say yes, forgive. This is a hyphenated word. I'm cheating.
See, look at this.
Keep going.
So forgive, keep going?
Yes.
Okay.
Forgive. Last word, this hyphenated, keep going.
Okay. So those 3 words, why?
We got to learn to say yes even to the things that scare us the most. Courage is not about a lack of fear. It is about acting in spite of fear. You got to say yes. You got to say yes to you. You got to say yes to your future. You got to say yes to the things that you want. You got to say yes to the things that you have to do to get what you want. Say yes.
Say yes.
Say yes.
Floetry said it, y'all. I think we should fall in order. So forgive.
Constantly of self and others. Constantly of self and others. Constantly of self and others. You gon' fuck up.
Yep. Point blank. Straight like that.
Point blank, period. You will. You gonna do it today. You gonna do it tomorrow. You gonna do it in 10 years. You gonna fuck up. Get used to it and forgive yourself for it. And then forgive other people who don't meet those markers either. You have to, because if you don't, if you walk around holding on to these grudges because you weren't who I needed you to be, who I wanted you to be in this space, you forget that they have a journey too. And they're on theirs too. And they may not just be aligned with you in that moment, but if you keep forgiving them and yourself, you show them what it looks like and you give way for those things to be aligned. Agreed. And you also give way for the people that need to be there to be aligned with you. So forgive yourself constantly and others often.
So we have a couple more questions for you. One, I love her name. Does it have a meaning? Adande.
It does, which works perfectly because I'm a coach. My name means the challenger.
The challenger. Yeah. Come on, y'all.
I get it honest.
That's what Adande, that's what it means.
I get it honest.
And so then
thank you.
Everybody is on here talking about some, can she come back, have her again? We need to see her again.
I know.
Yay. So it's a man that hit home.
It's fun. I loved it.
Yes. Awesome. So Miss Adande.
Yes.
How can we keep up with you? How do we know what the heck is going on with Empower She?
You know, you can definitely follow, and then I found out yesterday that you gotta hit whatever that thing is that makes you see first. That's what it is. Like, follow, and see first. But you go
turn on your notifications, y'all.
Please at She Adande, because I don't know what none of this stuff is. But at She Adande on Facebook.
Spell it for the folks.
SheAdande at She Adande. And so then you can find out the workshops that I'm doing. We've got one coming up next April 22nd. Okay. It is called Surviving the Plot Twist. So it really is kind of about this transformational piece and what it looks like when a wedge is thrown in and what you thought your life was going to be, and then how to kind of rewrite your narrative. So please join me for that, April 22nd. It is free, and you can find the details out on my page. You can also come to, if you're looking for coaching sessions, or if you're interested, really the power assessment is free. There's nothing to it but to take 45 minutes out your day. It really can change your life, and we can see where you can go from there. That is www.sheadande.com. Again, that's SheAdande.com, and sign up for your free power assessment, and let's get it moving. Let's get it cracking.
My mom used to say ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Hey,
so for all of y'all that's like have her back,
come through.
She has a training coming up. We just talked about that, April 22nd. Tune in to her channels, y'all, so you all can get this wealth of information. Like she said, this one is free.
It is free.
This one is free. They will not always be free. Okay,
be free.
so you definitely want to have that experience. I actually had the pleasure of attending one of her sessions. Was it last month or this month? I don't even know what month it is right now. Earlier this month?
It was
February?
earlier this month. I know, right?
Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
God.
Valentine's Day.
Yes, right before Valentine's Day.
And it was so amazing. When she talks about playbooks, believe me, y'all want to go to one of her trainings so you can get your playbook of whatever the theme is. So, yes, Adande, I want to thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome. I had so much fun.
Yes, it's amazing. So as always, it's your girl, Ebby Nicole, honey, with hashtag Body Talk. Y'all know what it is. Fluffy Girl, FLUFFY, capital GRL. There is no I. Cut it. Stop trying to put an I. Stop trying to do I. Ain't no I. Capital GRL. Fluffy Girl Movement on Facebook and on Instagram. As you all know, hashtag Body Talk is the last Tuesday of the month. We do start at 6:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we will also be having some amazing workshops for you all this year that I cannot wait to share. We have a website redo that's popping. We have the book that's still on sale, the ebook, the e-workbook. It's still on www.empowerthefluff.com. Tune in. Get it together, okay? Your girl, Ebby Nicole, here with Adande of Empower She. I thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you for the love. We will have our devices on, and we will be watching for you all's comments. Yes. Still share this out. Share this out. Start conversation. That's what hashtag Body Talk was created for, to give women who are the face of their brand platforms to not only put their gifts out there into the world, but to also share their experience so we can connect and grow. That's what we do. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.